Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last.
Yeah, he shall overcome at the last. Now, why does it say a troop shall overcome him? Now, one, if you know anything in the scriptures, Gad was one of the warrior tribes. You had Manasseh, Gad, and Reuben. Those are the actual tribes that were mainly the warriors of Israel. Now, of course, the other tribes had mighty men as well, but the Most High set it up that they were actually the main ones that would be going to battle a lot. Okay? So when you go into Gad, Gad was known to be an expert of war. Okay, we're not. I don't know where it is, but I'm not going to get into that.
I got it. We just presented Chronicles.
Yeah, it's in Chronicles, right?
37.
Yeah, go ahead and get it.
This is Chronicles, 1 Chronicles 12 and 37. And on the other side of the Jordan, of the Reubenites and the Gadites, and of the half of the tribe of Manasseh, with all manners of instruments of war for the battle.
Yep. And that's what they were known to have. Because even when you go into the different tribes, when you go into the weapons that they use, some of the tribes like to use different weapons. But when it came to the warrior tribes, they used all weapons. Now, when you go into the history of the natives of the Americas, right?
Yeah.
They have all kinds of weapons: hatchet, bow,
right,
staff, everything. Knife.
Yeah.
They had daggers, sword, actual axes, battle axes.
Right.
You ever play Killer Instinct? You're probably some people might be too young. But you ever play Killer Instinct on Super Nintendo or Killer Instinct 64? I forgot the guy's name. I think his name was Thunder. But he was a character that was a Gadite, and he had all them different weapons.
They had the blowgun.
Yeah, blowgun. They had all kinds of weapons of war. So that's the reason why Esau, when he came to America, he had a hard time taking them down, because they were experts in war. So what did they have to do? They had to create the United States Cavalry. The United States Cavalry was designed to actually take down the tribe of Gad, all the way up to the last battle was Wounded Knee. Okay, you have a scripture?
Yeah, this is First Chronicles 5 and 18. The sons of Reuben and the Gadites and the half tribe of Manasseh of valiant men able to bear buckler and sword, and to shoot with the bow, and skillful in war.
Shoot with the bow. Now, growing up, even when you was in grade school, you learned that the Native Americans were also like to use the bow and arrow.
Right.
That they were expert archers. You know? Right. So they had the bow and arrow on lock. They had the dagger, the sword. They had the buckler, they had the shield, they had all that already set up. They knew how to be they were experts in warfare. That's the reason why the most chronicled battle of the natives of the Americas with Esau is really primarily Gad and Reuben.
That's right.
The battle between Esau and Gad and Reuben is the most chronicled battle in all of the Americas.
Right.
For that very reason. Okay? That's plain and simple. Okay, you got it?
Yeah, that was it on Gad.
Yeah, that's it on Gad. And then let's go to Zebulon.
Zebulon.
Let's finish it off with Zebulon.
Alright. This is Genesis 49 and 13. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for an haven of ships. Now,
when you go into Zebulon, in the actual land, Zebulon didn't live by the waters. Zebulon didn't live by the sea. So you brothers and sisters, look up an ancient map of Israel with the 12 tribes. You're going to notice that Zebulon didn't live by no water. You know? So how is Zebulon in the haven of ships now? That's the question. He shall be as unto a haven of ships. Okay, yeah. So that goes into the fact that the land of Zebulon, where they were going to be at, was going to be a place where many ships come through, which goes into the Panama Canal.
That's right.
Because once you understand that the 10 tribes, that a bulk of the 10 tribes came over here, then now you can actually start to look at the history of these different people and identify where they are. Now, the prophecy of that didn't really come into fruition until the Panama Canal was built. So even in the 1700s, 1800s, we didn't know about it. We wouldn't have known about who Zebulon was until the Panama Canal was created, which was around the early 1900s. I think Theodore Roosevelt, I believe, was the one who was the president, or one of the presidents that was around at the time when they were building up the Panama Canal, which is over there in, you know, Guatemala, Panama, that area in Central America. Okay? And Issachar and Zebulon, you know, they're right by each other. You know, because they're actually brothers as well. But then also they live by each other. So it makes some sense that they will probably stay by each other even in the last days. That's just something spiritual, you know, you could probably see. Okay? And that's just a few tribes from the Northern Kingdom. So we just want to make sure that we reinforce it, that the northern people, the bulk of the Northern Kingdom is in fact over here in the Americas. They are here. We didn't say that all of them came here. Okay? In fact, we got scriptures, the scriptures that show that you had some of the Northern Kingdom that actually came back. But you had those amongst them that the Most High put the Spirit on them to actually leave the multitude of the heathen, as it said in 2nd Ezra, and for them to come over here to the Americas. You know, so, and really, when it comes down to it, they fit the curses. What happened to the Northern Kingdom didn't happen to no other people on the planet. Right. And if they're not the Northern Kingdom, now you got to actually go into the scriptures and tell us which nation they are. Which we've not seen a video where nobody's actually told us that they're from this other nation and proved it. We haven't seen that. So let's go ahead and go real quick into 2nd Chronicles chapter 30. We're going to go into the fact, yeah, there was Northern Kingdom in Israel that was still around, you know? We admit that, that's in the scriptures. Okay? It's going to do it for edification, sir. Yes, sir.
This is 2nd Chronicles chapter 30, verse 1. And Hezekiah sent to all Israel and Judah and wrote letters also to Ephraim and Manasseh.
Yeah, he sent to all Israel and Judah. Now Hezekiah, let's look up, can you look up when Hezekiah ruled? Let's just do that real quick. You might even be able to see it on the blue letter. Sometimes the blue letter will tell you time frames. But actually, no, it doesn't. It'll just tell you who he's the son of and what number king he was in the line. So just go to King Hezekiah, just go to Google, King, whatever. Let's see when King Hezekiah ruled. Okay? So go ahead and read it. Keep reading it.
And Hezekiah sent to all Israel and Judah and wrote letters also to Ephraim and Manasseh.
He wrote letters also to Ephraim and Manasseh. Okay, so that means if he wrote it to Ephraim and Manasseh, that means Ephraim and Manasseh had to be, some of the Ephraim and Manasseh had to be around, right?
Yep, that's right.
Okay?
That they should come to the house of Yahweh at Jerusalem to keep the Passover unto Yahweh, the power of Israel.
That's right. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Hezekiah reigned between 716 BC to 697 BC.
Okay, that's right. Keep going.
For the king had taken counsel and his princes and all the congregation in Jerusalem to keep the Passover in the 2nd month.
To keep the Passover in the 2nd month. Now, let's go to Ezra. No, the 2nd Ezra, Ezra, chapter 2.
Book of Ezra.
Yeah, the book of Ezra. I believe it's chapter 2. Because when you go back into the whole, when you go back into after the Babylonian captivity and the Assyrian captivity, when Israel was allowed to go back and to rebuild the temple under the command of Cyrus, right? King Cyrus, Most High moved his heart to actually allow them to go back. So what they did in Ezra, when they came back, they actually had a census of all the families. Okay? So go to Ezra chapter 2. It's on the top.
This is the book of Ezra, chapter 2, verse 1. Now these are the children of the province that went up out of the captivity, of those which have been carried away, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away unto Babylon, and came again unto Jerusalem in Judah, and Judah every one unto his city.
Yep. Yeah, it goes into the go to verse 28. Because what they're doing is when they're doing this census of the people that are coming back, they're actually counting them based on their hometowns that they're in. Now, mind you, the Babylonian captivity at this particular time, in the time of Ezra, what's that time out? Like maybe 5th century?
Was that
5th century?
Yeah.
Go and look up King Cyrus the Great. Go and look up Cyrus the Great, because we're going to deal with time frames. You know, we're going to show you that there were actually, we agreed, there were some of the northern kingdom that were here. Okay, and that's proven in the scriptures.
The Cyrus?
Yeah, Cyrus. Cyrus the Great. Put Cyrus the Great, and then you should be able to find it. Yeah, 2028. Got that one AI.
Chapter 22, verse 28. The men of Bethel and Ai, 223.
Okay. Now, Bethel and Ai, this is a census now of the men that are from Bethel and Ai. Bethel and Ai is in the land of Ephraim. You look up a map of Ephraim, Bethel and Ai are towns in the land of Ephraim, which you would call Samaria.
Right.
Okay? Which you would have called Samaria in the time of Yahweh Shah. It would have been called Samaria. Okay? Under the Romans. Okay? So, did you find the time frame of Cyrus?
Yeah, this is Cyrus the Great, 559 BC to 530 BC.
Okay, so we showed you that for 2 centuries, from the time of Hezekiah, all the way to the time of Cyrus, that you had those of the northern kingdom in the land. Not everybody left. That's why even the numbers are so low. Name the numbers of that town.
The numbers are 223.
Yeah, so it wasn't all. So that shows you that Ephraim is way bigger than that. Or the towns, I'm sure, had way more people than that back when we were all in the land in our abundance during the time of Solomon, right?
Right.
But that was to show you that when you go down to these different towns, you're going to realize in that second Ezra chapter 2 that a lot of those towns were in the northern kingdom.